More than 10 minutes of incredible Doom: The Dark Ages gameplay was revealed at the Xbox Developer Direct earlier this week. Several brand new enemies, weapons, abilities, and combat elements were introduced during the event, giving us tons of bone-breaking content to dissect and break down in today's video. This is only part 1 of my full showcase coverage. I'll be going over the game's story, levels, lore, exploration, and more exclusive details in a separate video. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss even more Dark Ages information. The main villain of this entry is a higher demon lord known as Ozrak. He makes several brief appearances throughout the direct. We can first see him standing beside a kneeling sentinel as the Doomslayer approaches with his flail in hand. While it's currently unclear exactly when this cutscene takes place or why it's happening, Prince Ozrak can be seen speaking to one of the Deg priests, who will eventually fall victim to Hell's influence and betray the Argenta people. Another brief shot depicts the Demon Lord cowering before the Slayer's Atlan mech, which seems to suggest that our hero will make several unsuccessful attempts to eliminate the villain before the game's final boss fight. A much more ferocious version of the Cyber Demon is present in the background of several different combat encounters, although he's unfortunately never the center of attention. One additional screenshot does provide a more detailed look at his new design, and it does not disappoint. The sleek dark metal, deep red lighting, and huge demonic wings give him a sinister vibe that manages to rival the classic Cyber Demon's incredibly menacing aura. I absolutely love what we've seen so far. Another mysterious super heavy enemy pops up a handful of times, and I'm honestly not sure what this one is supposed to be. The mechanical legs remind me of the Carcass and Arachnotron, but it appears to be a completely original creature that's never been featured in a Doom game before. There's also a unique variant of this enemy that has red legs, implying that it is stronger in some way. Heavily armored iterations of the monstrous Pinky and the iconic Hell Knight were visible throughout the reveal's bloodstained battlefields. Not much is known about the Pinky, but the upgraded knights are capable of tossing huge battle axes that can be parried, which will stagger the enemy and damage its armor. The Revenant now has a never-before-seen ability that allows it to enter a semi-transparent, ghost-like state. It can still attack the player and take damage while performing this move, so it thankfully isn't a new version of Doom Eternal's infamous Spirit Demon. A pack of insanely fast monsters with thin white hair and piercing blue eyes can be seen feasting on the corpses of Sentinel civilians early on in the video. Oddly enough, they aren't prominently featured anywhere outside of this short clip and the cover art, where a group of them are attempting to attack the Slayer. These demons look incredibly similar to the imps seen in Doom 2016 and Eternal, so there's a solid chance that we're actually looking at an older and more vicious breed of the modern imp. A classic Lost Soul appears for a split second very late into the dev direct. Players will be relieved to know that Doom's most consistently pesky enemy can now be blocked, rendering them useless unless they catch you off guard. We also got a really good look at several of the previously announced demons, like the Agadon Hunters, the Arachnotrons, Hell Knights, Possessed Soldiers, Mancubi, the remade classic Imps, Pinkies, and Shield Soldiers, which can now be taken down in large groups using a single shield toss. As you progress through the game, you'll be able to earn bars of gold that can be spent on various types of weapons and equipment upgrades. The rune system is making an unsurprising return, but it's a bit different this time around. 4 predetermined categories will be tied to the shield saw, allowing players to exchange resources for unique upgrades like Aftershock, a perk that increases the distance of the ground fissure rune. You will be able to refund your spent gold and redistribute it amongst different enhancements at any time, giving you the freedom to test out different abilities and see what works best for you. Nearly every shield saw gameplay mechanic is controlled using only a single contextual button input, which has supposedly streamlined the experience. This enhanced control scheme has seemingly been applied to the melee weapons as well. You'll be able to control the Sentinel Flail, Spiked Mace, or the Electric Gauntlet using one button. During the private Q&A with Marty Stratton and Hugo Martin, it was confirmed that players will only be able to use a single melee weapon at a time. Each piece of equipment will have its own strengths that can be taken advantage of depending on your current build and preferred playstyle. Just like the Blood Punch ability in Doom Eternal, each individual melee strike will have to be charged up by performing an unspecified action, so they cannot be used non-stop. Glory kills have been completely overhauled. The predetermined animations are being replaced by user-controlled inputs. So not only has id Software given us the freedom to decide exactly how each demon should be torn to shreds, but they've also allowed us to glory kill multiple demons at once after initiating an execution on a crowd of staggered monsters. A brand new weapon can be seen for only a few frames during the melee explanation segment, and it looks super interesting. There's no HUD indicator to give us any sort of idea as to what the side profile looks like or what type of ammo it consumes, but if I had to guess, I'd say that it probably shares energy cells with the accelerator. Speaking of the plasma rifle Sentinel counterpart, we finally have a full look at the double-barreled accelerator that was shown behind closed doors at QuakeCon 2024. Not only does the additional barrel increase the overall damage, but it also applies a chain lightning effect capable of momentarily stunning any demons standing near your current target. There isn't any type of special marker on the HUD, so it seems like this is a direct enhancement and not an unlockable weapon mod. The Railspike's main upgrade path turns the slow-firing railgun into a fully automatic machine gun, likely sacrificing the hard-hitting impact for an overall increase in damage per second. I get the impression that each weapon will have a full upgrade tree that will allow players to build their own firearm, resulting in creations like the double accelerator and rapid Railspike. It was revealed that the combat shotgun will be the Dark Ages starting weapon, not the super shotgun. This version of the Slayer's trusted single-barreled sidearm hits harder and shoots faster than the previous two iterations, likely making it a reliable gun that can still melt through the armies of darkness late into the campaign. While the rocket launcher was noticeably absent from the showcase, it can be seen in a gameplay screenshot that was released on the Slayer's Club. It looks more like a badass heavy metal cannon than a traditional launcher, which is exactly what I expected from an explosive medieval-inspired Doom weapon. We also got a very detailed look at the standard imp, and I've gotta say, this might actually be my favorite enemy design so far. It's a near-perfect reimagining of the original 90s monster that we all know and love. I really wanted to see this guy in Eternal, and I'm so glad that he was finally brought back after all these years. The chain gun has received a massive upgrade, as it's now a ginormous double-barreled blaster that can be wielded by the Slayer's Atlan mech. This thing absolutely shreds through Titan demons, making Doom's largest and most threatening hellspawn look like nothing more than common fodder. It doesn't seem like we'll have access to a standard chain gun, although newly released promotional materials show that the Slayer now has a shoulder-mounted machine gun with a full ammo belt. Strangely, this new piece of equipment isn't present throughout all key art and in-game cutscenes. The Void Slayer skin, Divinity Premium skin, and Collector's Edition statue are currently the only places where this weapon can be seen. Two possible variants of the shoulder cannon might also make an appearance on the id Software concept art wall early on in the footage, but the image is a bit too blurry for us to tell. We can also see tons of additional concepts for the other new additions to the arsenal and their primary upgrades, including what could be an iteration of the BFG in the top right corner. A muscular demon with a mechanical arm and a ferocious armored beast can be spotted amongst the enemy art on the left side of the wall, further expanding the Dark Ages enemy roster. Even more exclusive gameplay details were released. Click on the video that's on screen now to find out more. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. That's pretty much all that I have for now, though. Until next time.